What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. And UFC 304 has come and gone, and the main sticking point of this card has to be Tom Aspinall and his incredible performance against Curtis Blaydes. Tom went in there and stopped Curtis in under a minute. Some people were saying it was an early stoppage, but I mean, I guess they want to see Curtis have brain damage and not be able to fight anymore, because that's what would have happened if the fight kept going on. Tom was in control. He was laying down punches. It was the right call, in my opinion. But I think that fight just showed you guys and showed everybody that Jon Jones does not want to fight Tom Aspinall, and you could kind of see why. Like, Tom Aspinall went in there and beat a top heavyweight once again in the first round. This guy's never seen the judges, one of the most exciting guys on the roster, and one of the best heavyweights in the world, if not the best heavyweight, in my opinion. And it shows in all of his fights. I mean, the guy is completely dominant, and it also shows that Jon Jones is not going to be wanting this fight, and you can kind of see why Jon doesn't want it. I mean, I don't know if he's going to beat Tom. I don't think he beats Tom, and I think deep down, Jon might know that too. Either way, it doesn't get much more of a statement than that, and Tom proved to everybody he is the best heavyweight in the world once again, and he is calling for the Jon Jones fight, but we all know that Dana and the UFC want to make the Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic fight the fight nobody wants, but it's going to happen anyways. So at least we're able to have Tom be the backup fighter. Dana confirmed that, so if someone drops dead on fight week, Tom steps in there. But I don't know. I think this is the fight that's going to end up getting away from us. I think that Jon, he's going to fight Stipe, and after that, he's going to retire. I think both guys are going to retire, and there we go. Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall would never have been made, and it would be such a shame if that happened, but this is what happens, man, when you have a superstar in a position like Jon Jones, who's been fighting for years, has built an incredible legacy, and now, right at the end of his career, it could all go down the drain if he fights Aspinall and loses and gets knocked out. So I think that's why he's avoiding this fight so much, more so for his legacy. I don't think he's actually scared man-to-man of Tom Aspinall. I think it's more so to protect his legacy and the career he's had. But it's just unfortunate that we're the ones who have to pay the price for it, because we're not going to see an incredible fight, and we're not going to see Tom Aspinall go in there and beat Jon Jones. And that's exactly what I think would happen. Tom's too fast, he's too strong, and he's just good everywhere, and he's in the prime of his career right now. This is an old Jon Jones, a guy who waited 3 years to come up to heavyweight, and he's not the best version of himself. I guarantee you that. Yes, he looked great against Ciryl Gane, but Ciryl Gane's the definition of a one-dimensional fighter, absolutely zero ground game, so that's why Jon was able to piece him apart so quickly. And sure, you could say that about some of Tom's opponents as well. They're a bit one-dimensional, but Tom has shown that he can strike and he can grapple at a high level in this division, so I think that argument doesn't really work for him. Now, in terms of the other fights on the card, I mean, we have to talk about the main event. Belal Muhammad goes in there and stops Leon Edwards and becomes the welterweight champion. I say stop, but it was a decision. Either way, he looked good. I mean, Belal, he's not the most interesting fighter. Let's all be honest. I mean, we all know that already, but at the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do to win the fight, and that's exactly what Belal did. Yes, he was dominant, and he was able to take Leon down, and he was also able to strike with Leon, which was kind of surprising. But honestly, I hate making excuses for people, but Leon Edwards did look a little off in this fight to me. This didn't look like the best version of himself. Could that have been how good Belal was? Maybe. But honestly, I really don't think so. I think Leon was off. Maybe the time affected him, like he said. I don't know. Something happened. Something happened to Leon, and that was not the best version of himself, but either way, hats off to Belal Muhammad. I don't think there's going to be an immediate rematch for this one either. They're going to move on. So Belal, I mean, he's got a killer's row in front of him coming for that title. I mean, you have Shavkat Rakhmonov, Jack Della Maddalena, Ian Gary maybe even. It's not going to be easy to hold on to that title, but props to Belal. He's made history. He's become a UFC champion, and he deserved it. He did well. He fought well, and he got the decision, and he earned it completely. There's no robberies, none of that. Hats off to Belal, and we'll see what happens in the future. I don't know when he's going to fight next. I don't know if I could even see him fighting again in 2025, because I think that a couple things need to play out first. So in 2025, at the beginning of next year, maybe we'll see Belal make a return, and hopefully it'll be against either Shavkat or Jack Della Maddalena. Those are the two I think that are really in contention here. So we'll see what happens, and let's talk about some of these other interesting matchups on this card. Of course, Paddy the Baddy went in there, and he beat Bobby Green comfortably in the first round. Great submission for Paddy. Had a feeling that this is how Paddy would get things done, to be honest with you. Yeah, Bobby Green hasn't been submitted in forever, but I mean, Paddy is just such a good jiu-jitsu practitioner. He's a great grappler, and that's going to be his key to success in this killer division that is the lightweight division. Bobby kind of shot him for a takedown. That was really dumb, to be honest. I'm not sure why he did that, but he did, and it resulted in a loss for him. So Paddy hopped on the mic after he called out Renato Moicano. That would have been the fight to make if they didn't book Moicano versus Benoit Saint Denis. So, I mean, if Moicano gets through BSD, that fight's definitely not happening. And if he loses, he's going to lose a bit of his hype. But I think that's the next fight for Paddy. It makes sense. He needs to be slow here. Once he gets to the top of this division, it becomes very, very dangerous. So I don't mind him taking a couple more fights towards the bottom of the top 10 just to establish some more dominance. And we'll see where he goes from here. I'm interested to see what happens with Paddy. I think the guy catches a lot of unnecessary hate, to be honest with you. He's a great grappler, and if he can improve his striking, he may have the potential to become a true contender in this division. Lastly, I want to touch on the whole Manel Kape Muhammad Mokaev situation on the prelims. I mean, these guys were on the prelims for a reason, and it showed. These guys wanted to get at each other so bad, and once the cage was finally locked, they didn't do anything. They literally stood around for the first couple minutes of the fight. Absolutely nothing happened. Manel Kape broke his toe, and I think that really affected the way this fight would play out, because I think Kape was getting a lot closer than people think. He was really finding his speed and rhythm in that second round, and he was starting to crack Mokaev. So I think if the toe wasn't broken and he was able to use a lot more of the tools on his belt, he could have actually potentially gone out there and get the win, but he didn't. Mokaev won. It was boring once again, and Dana White felt the exact same way. I mean, he literally booted Mokaev out of the UFC in a post-fight press conference. I've never seen that before. That was pretty interesting, but I do feel a little bad for Mokaev because at the end of the day, the guy's only 23. He's undefeated, and he honestly has a chance to become a champion in this company, but Dana doesn't want it. The matchmakers don't want it. There's clearly something with Mokaev that goes on behind the scenes that the UFC doesn't like. Probably tough contract negotiations or things like that, and Dana just doesn't care at this point. I mean, the UFC is so much bigger than all the fighters now. It doesn't matter who they have in the company. People are always going to tune in to watch fights. So Mokaev, he can go off to PFL, probably make a shit ton of money, and he'll have a good career over there, but it won't be in the UFC. I just found it so interesting that Dana literally fired him in the post-fight press conference. But there you guys have it. Those were my thoughts of UFC 304. Let me know what you guys think, and let me know what you want to see next for some of these guys. What do you think's next for Belal? What do you think's next for Tom? What do you think's next for Manel Kape and Giga and all these guys on this card? There was a bunch of great fights, but I think I pointed out the big ones here, and I want to hear what you guys have to say. So thank you all for watching this video once again, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Be on the lookout for the Corey Sandhagen Umar Nurmagomedov breakdown that's coming later this week. This is such a great fight, such a great card in general, and I'm so excited to talk about it. So be on the lookout for that. Thank you all for watching once again, and I'll catch you all in the next one.